Look-aheads and look-behinds allow us to specify sequences of characters that must or must not match after or before your main expression. So I know that's a lot to take in, but it's actually fairly simple. Consider this example right here. We have some CSS3 properties, all of which contain the string box. So how would you select only box shadow and box sizing? Okay, well, let's consider a handful of examples, because remember, with regular expressions, there's multiple ways to solve one problem. So let's consider the first option. We're going to look for box, we know that's for sure, and we know that's going to begin at the beginning of the string. So I'm going to select multi-line, and that way I can specify start at the beginning of the string, and that way I'm not selecting anything that isn't. Next, we have a dash, and we have shadow, but we also have sizing. So you might be thinking, well, we can do the or using a pipe, like so. But now I want you to remember with the pipe, because we don't have parentheses, we're saying look for box shadow at the beginning of a string or look for sizing. So we'll find that this will match as well. So we need to use parentheses so that we can limit how far it stretches. In this case, I'll wrap it around here. And now we're saying look for the beginning of a string, then B, then O, then X, then dash, then look for shadow or sizing. And now we can say select until the end of the string. And in this case, I could say look for anything that is not that closing semicolon and find one or more. Now what this will do is it'll select everything until it gets to a semicolon. Another option would be to be a little more generalized and use the universal selector. And we'll say period, select one or more until you get to the end of the string, which is represented by a $sign. So now we can say change. And if we look down below, we have targeted those two specific items. But then what if we add another property, box align? Now we're not matching that as well. So we would have to go back to our regular expression and stretch it out again and say or align. So quickly, depending upon the scenario, that might be too much. So let's take a look at using look-aheads and look-behinds. In this case, the difference between box here and these boxes is that this one is the value, so it's preceded by a colon. So why don't we see if we can use that to our advantage. We're going to select box, and as we can see, that's selecting all of them. And now this time, we're not going to assume that each of these are on their own line. So maybe we'll put each of these on one long line. Maybe it's compressed CSS, and for some reason, we need to use regular expressions to filter through it. So we can't take advantage of using the beginning of the line trick using the caret symbol. So now, we only want to select this, this, and this. Okay, well, let's try this. Why don't we say, look for a box, but only target a box if it's not preceded by a colon and a space. So we can do that, if we look to our sidebar, by using a negative look behind. And this is the syntax it takes. We create wrapping parentheses, then we type question mark, bracket, and then an exclamation point. So let me demonstrate this. Parentheses, and now we're going to say colon space. Now I want you to note that now we're no longer selecting this, we're only selecting the others. So what this translates to is look for a box, but only select these three letters if what comes before it, remember this is a negative look behind, so look behind this, and this expression cannot match. So we're saying look behind, and that's the sequence, and we're going to look for a colon and a space. And if you did not find that, then and only then do I want you to max box. So in this case, it ran through here, it looks behind it. Is there a colon and a space immediately behind it? Nope, nope, nope. But in the first case, it said there's box. Before it, was there a colon and a space? Yes, so do not match because this is a negative look behind. And then at this point, we could say if we wanted to select the entire property and value, select everything that is not a semicolon, one or more, and then add that final closing semicolon. And now if we change, you can see that we've matched each of those individually. So what we've done here with box, we're saying look for anything that is not a semicolon. So we just select, no semicolon, no semicolon, no semicolon, keep selecting. Oh, that's a semicolon, so don't select any longer. And now we add the semicolon to finish it off. And now we're done with our regular expression. And we do the same thing for each of these because we do have global turned on. If I were to turn global off, you'd see that we'd only select that first occurrence. And when we were working with PHP, that is like preg underscore match. When we turn global on, it's like preg underscore match all. Or in a language maybe like Ruby, you would use something like .g sub. So each language has its own syntax. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to use look-aheads, which is just a little bit different. Stay tuned.